Hey, Amber.
Hey, Dave.
How have you been lately? It's been a little while since we've actually sat down and recorded.
I am great.
Wow, that's a ringing endorsement.
Was that
No,
convincing?
no,
Did I
no,
convince
didn't
everybody?
convince anybody. Amber, I have some news. Here we are. We're recording this kind of at the end of January, and I have some news. In a few days here, I will be participating in a Groundhog Day ceremony.
Okay. Isn't this something that you do every year?
Yes, I've done it for several years now. Yeah.
How many years
Oh
is several
God,
years?
I don't know. A few, 4 or 5.
Okay.
So it's this odd circumstance, I guess, that there is a wildlife rehabilitator in this area who happened to have a groundhog dropped off at her, I don't know, rehabilitation estate or whatever they call them. This groundhog had been like,
I think it's called an animal sanctuary.
oh, wow, that's weird. So she had this groundhog dropped off at this animal sanctuary. It had gotten into a scrape when it was little, and by the time she had nursed it back to health, it really didn't have like the survival skills or whatever groundhogs need to live, and so she's kept it. And when you have a more or less like captive groundhog, you feel like maybe you should take advantage of it. And so the town put out a call for people who are willing to dress in formal wear and handle rodents. And I'm like, yeah, that's me. That's like right in my resume. And so myself and several others participate in this thing. And groundhogs are pretty cute. They're I sympathize with a groundhog, or I empathize with a groundhog, I should say. They're vicious. Oh God, don't mess with a groundhog.
What? I don't even think I know, I've seen the dramatic, that's a gopher. What's a groundhog look like?
A little bit like a gopher who compulsively eats. They're really chubby little critters, and they're basically all fur and fat and claws. And everything in the world wants to eat these things, right? Foxes and hawks and all this stuff. And so they're mean. Groundhogs are just mean. And on top of it,
Okay.
groundhogs hibernate. And so we're waking this poor lady, it's a female groundhog, waking her up out of her hibernation and bringing her out in the cold air and taking pictures and putting a little hat on her. And it's just I'd be in a bad mood too. I'm going to be honest with you.
Okay, I have to, just in case we have listeners
Yes.
who don't know this tradition in America.
Right.
I don't even know if it's all of America. I feel like, is it an entire United States
I think it is,
thing?
yeah, and I certainly think it
Okay.
is. It is popular in other parts of the country as well, or other countries in the world. I think primarily our tradition comes from Germany, but the idea is that you dig a groundhog out of its burrow and lift it up on the morning of February 2nd. And if the groundhog sees her shadow, then you have 6 more weeks of winter. And if the groundhog does not see her shadow, then winter will end soon. And it is used as this kind of folkloric prognostication. And because everybody gets sick of winter, then it becomes, people are interested in it. Because, if it was the end of spring, nobody would give a shit. But, it's the end of winter, and winter's awful.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it kind of makes sense in a, animals understand how the natural world works better than humans, where it's if I'm done hibernating, I come out and I'm like, dang, I'm gonna get ready for spring. Ah, shit, nope, still cold. I'm gonna go back and sleep for another 6 weeks. That makes sense, but I don't understand where the shadow comes into play.
The tradition doesn't have anything to do with the animals instincts. It's just, is the sun shining today? Is pretty much the barometer. Which honestly, the hilarious part about it is that we do this in the morning. It's like 8 a.m. in the morning. And again, it's winter, so the sun's not really up at that point.
No.
And so it becomes this very arbitrary thing. And so I think there's 5 of us who get together. There's 5 of us, and then the wildlife rehabilitator, and we do the ceremony, and then we all get together and give our prediction. But it's a very, like you say, the sun's not out yet. So and secondly, the news is there, and they have their spotlights and everything for a good shot. So we can kind of do whatever we want. And there's certainly pressure to forecast a shortened winter.
This is such a weird...
Oh, God, it's super strange.
When you take it out of context, it's really strange. If somebody, an alien, if Gorpong, we explained this to Gorpong, I don't think they would understand it.
Most adults don't understand it, quite frankly, because it's also this very counterintuitive thing. Because you think if the sun is shining and it's warm and it's a beautiful day, that would be a herald of winter's on its way out. But it's exactly the opposite of that. Yep. If the sun's shining, that's terrible. If it's cloudy, then that's great.
I mean, a lot of stuff in America doesn't make sense.
But apparently it came from Germany originally, and I guess you can dig any critter out of the ground and do this with it, which is badgers or
so
wolves
you
or whatever.
Actually put a hat.
Yeah, there's a little hat they made for her, with a little elastic strap that goes under her chin. Mm-hmm. Yep.
What's this groundhog's name?
The groundhog's name is Grubby, because groundhogs typically eat grubs and crap they find in the dirt. But apparently Grubby is retiring, and there's going to be the debut of the new groundhog this year, whose name is Hope, which is a little trite, but okay. Now this poor woman probably has everybody giving her groundhogs.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's you get a groundhog dumped on you, and then it becomes a town tradition, and now you're just the groundhog lady.
Right.
Where do you get groundhogs from? Do you literally just go out and with a shovel and you can dig up a groundhog?
I would recommend against it. I think the original one came to her from some farm or something where a dog had found the baby groundhog and bit it and tore it up a little bit. I know. But no, they're wild animals. They're out there. But you don't see them around very much because, again, everything wants to eat groundhogs. So,
do humans eat groundhogs?
I would probably recommend against it. I mean, I'm sure you can.
You said it was mostly just fur and claws, so...
Mm-hmm. I mean, and there's a lot of fat on a groundhog. They are chubby little critters. They're super cute, actually.
I mean, I guess if you could render down a groundhog.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you could stew it. I mean, I would eat it. I mean, it's a rodent.
I
but
wouldn't eat a groundhog.
I mean, nothing wrong with eating rodents.
I mean, if it was made in a nice stew, I probably wouldn't tell the difference.
Right.
Right.
I mean, people eat squirrel.
So... Yeah, I think I might have as a child ate a squirrel. Yeah. I'm not sure. Not I was a rabbit, I ran through the woods and grabbed a squirrel and bit it. My dad went hunting for squirrel.
Right, sure. Yeah, so I mean it's not outrageous.
There's a funny story about that. Oh, should I share it?
Well, yes.
Yeah, I should just share it. I was probably 6 or 7 years old, and my dad had went squirrel hunting. And he was showing us these dead squirrels and holding them up. The ones that he shot, okay?
Right.
I don't know very many parents are come check out this squirrel I shot. I mean, I guess there's probably parents out there. I don't know. That's not my culture. It was I had 2 cultures in my house. I had a hunting dad and I had a mom who's more cosmopolitan. So it was what? And so he holds up this squirrel and it's like belly facing out. And as a 7-year-old, I was looking at it and I was like, you shot his balls! Because the squirrel had, its testicles had been all shot up.
Aww.
And I was so concerned about this. And that made my dad laugh so long. It's a story he likes to tell everybody. And now here I am telling our listeners about how when I was 7, I was so concerned about this squirrel's shot up testicles.
Yeah. I will probably die in a hail of gunfire at some point. I would prefer not to be shot in the testicles.
I was very upset that my dad shot a squirrel in its nuts.
I mean, he could have had better aim. Let's be honest.
Yes. Oh, well, I think we ate that squirrel.
Yeah.
I can't remember the rest of that day. I just remember that and being... and I could still see the squirrel's nuts in my mind's eye because I was so shocked by what my 7-year-old mind had to come to terms with. It's still there. I could draw you a picture, Dave.
To be honest, you should draw a picture and we can post that to Patreon as a Patreon reward.
Okay.
Because Owls doesn't have very much to contribute that way, but that would be pretty special.
Yes. So, listener, if you're listening right now, Geekspective has a Patreon.
We do. We have a Patreon.
Become a patron, and if you join and sign up, I don't know which tier it is. Probably the $2 tier. You could see a lovely drawing of squirrel nuts. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I don't know how else to sell our Patreon.
I mean, if that doesn't sell you on it, you can't be sold.
Does the thought of leading a group through the creative landscapes of your imagination terrify you? Do you worry about being asked questions you don't know the answers to? Have you wanted to try being a dungeon or game master, but your social anxiety has been holding you back? Hi, I'm Amber, and I used to nearly vomit at the idea of running a tabletop RPG. How'd I get over that anxiety? I haven't. Surprise! I'm still an anxious mess, and you can listen to all of it on Shapeshift, where I've recorded 80% of every game I've ever ran. Over the last 4 years, I've run a ton of indie one-shots like Casketland, a weird Western horror game, to my first ever campaign using Ryutama, a Studio Ghibli-like exploration-focused game. Follow me through my journey learning how to GM and to live with my anxiety. It doesn't go away completely, but it does get easier to manage. Go to geekspective.com to find out more information or find Shapeshift on wherever you listen to your podcasts.
All right, back to our regular scheduled recording.
Yeah. You know what other rodents that people can eat? And actually were apparently bred specifically for the purpose.
What?
Yeah, guinea pigs, Amber. Guinea pigs were like domesticated by the Incas or something as like a food source.
Okay. So, I didn't realize you had procured some guinea pigs.
I have. They aren't for eating.
So
they are just pets.
Okay. I was like, where are we going with this? Are you going to render these pigs down?
I mean, they would make
Are you going to start your
adorable
own
tiny
farm?
bacon. They really would.
I have another interesting story.
I mean, you're one for one. You might as well keep going.
This is a fucked up. My family, I don't know what was wrong with them, but we used to have a cockatiel.
Yeah.
Her name was Lily.
Mm-hmm.
I love this cockatiel. She was like my pet. She slept with me. She was always on my shoulders. I did all of her grooming. I was her, like, I guess what she thought, her life partner, because one day she started laying eggs. And the first time she laid an egg on me.
Aww.
Which was very strange and very weird. And yes. And then my mom was like, well, obviously these eggs aren't, fertilized. What would a tiny cockatiel egg look like cooked?
No.
And my mom fried up a tiny cockatiel egg.
No, that's terrible. That's not a true story.
It is a true goddamn story.
Amber, you had just told me
also-
that your mother was the cosmopolitan one.
JK, she isn't really. She's faux cosmopolitan. So yeah, she did that. We didn't eat it. I didn't eat it. I don't think my mom ate it too. She just wanted to see what it would look like. And it looked like a tiny fried egg.
Yeah, I bet it did. Yep.
There you go. And then we just threw away the rest of her eggs that she laid. She laid like 5 of them.
Well, that's sweet.
She really wanted me to be the mom.
Yeah.
Her baby partner.
Baby
so.
mama, yeah.
Sorry, Lily.
Yeah.
Anyway, you're not eating guinea pigs.
No, but Glorpong very much wanted more pets. She's highly animal crazy. You know, I'm just not going to get her the dog she really wants because I just don't have time for it. I wouldn't be able to treat the animal the right way. So I told her no on a dog. And the next thing she came up with was ferret. And I was like, hell no. I'm not. There's like, I don't care if it would save a busload of orphans like careening off a cliff. I'm not buying you a ferret. It's just, nope.
No.
Hard no on the ferret. And so
you would have to
burn my house down and start over.
I was gonna say going back to I was gonna say like ferrets need to. They can't be kept in a cage. Like they need to be able to explore and like you could make a room. You would have to like dedicate a ferret room, which is horrible because like ferrets get. They don't have bones or something because they can get into anything.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, they stink. I mean, they have a musk, and
oh yeah, they can.
Like that is not a game that I'm going to play.
I think you can get them degland. I don't know if that's humane or not.
Yeah,
but I know people have done that.
I don't know. I'm not. Either way, hard no on the ferret, and so we.
Sure.
Compromised down to guinea pig, and I was like, okay, cool, like that's acceptable. And as it happened, like I know someone who had a pair of guinea pigs that needed rehomed, and so we got 2 guinea pigs. They're 2 good boys.
Do they have names?
Well, when they came to us, they were named Moose and Bear. But Glorpong has renamed them Pierre and Merle, which I think is a clear upgrade.
Those are much better names. I like them. I like those way better because like now you can imagine like who they are,
right?
Personality wise.
Yeah. I mean, it's not really who they are personality wise, but it's nice to be able to project a personality onto them.
Sure. I mean, who doesn't project their personalities onto their pets?
I guess Pierre is more of like a portly, like established French man. You know, just kind of laid back, watching the world.
So, what do they actually look like?
I will post pictures to our Twitter. That's what I'll do.
Oh, so I can actually see them with my eyes.
But they are flipping adorable. Is the thing there?
Do they bite?
Merle will nip sometimes, yes. In fact, now it's my turn for a horrifying story. And I had, because kind of like you were talking about with the ferrets, like the pigs are happier when they get like time out in the world and they are very snuggly and they like to cuddle, and it's generally a good fit for a little girl who has lots of love for furry critters. And so we had him downstairs and snuggling on the couch with the boys. And I had Merle like in my like I don't know, held up, and he was running around on my chest, and I was wearing like a t-shirt with a flannel like I typically do. And of course they want to burrow because they are little rodents. And he dug up into my shirt and he bit my nipple, Amber, and I thought I was going to die. Watered my eyes. It was just, it was not a great experience. But, I mean, guinea pig taught me a lot of valuable lessons about, like, boundaries and, my tolerance for some kinds of kink, I guess.
I was gonna say, on a pain scale, where was that?
I've been hurt. Like, hitting your thumb with a hammer is worse, but it hurt a lot. Because, I mean, they just have these sharp little incisors that, like, they chew through wood and stuff. They can bite. And, he thought my little nip-nop there was a guinea pig treat, and it decidedly was not. Like I say, my eyes watered. I yelped. It hurt.
Wow.
Would not recommend.
Which one was it, Merle?
Yeah, Merle.
Bad boy Merle.
Yeah, he's, he don't know no better.
No. I don't know.
They just have little furry brains.
I don't know if I could handle any sort of, like, rodent animal caged situation. I have lots of pet stories. They're all sad for the most part. I just, like, want to make a disclaimer before I start talking any more about pet stuff that, like, I don't think my family really treated animals kindly or right.
Yeah.
I would say they were treated more as, like, objects than creatures that should be, like, really cared for. And looking back on my youth, it's really sad as I think about it now. So disclaimer as we go in further that I'm just like, if you don't like animal harm or sad animal stories, they're not truly, like, terrible, but they're borderline call the pet people to take care of stuff. Borderline, not truly. But I was just thinking about, like, talking specifically about caged animals. I don't do well with animals that are, like, you have to clean out their cage. You have to, like, they're, like, a lot of dogs. Yeah, they're maintenance and they take a lot of attention, but I don't really have to, like, worry about if Edie gets out in the house, will she go into a vent and I'll never see her again. I have lots of stories that, oh, what am I getting into? I feel like I shouldn't talk about this because it's so, whatever, but I'm going to share it. When I was very young, my dad got hamsters. And he thought they were, like, 2 female hamsters or, like, 2 male hamsters.
Sure, yeah.
And it ended up being a male and female hamster. And before you knew it, we had, like, 30 hamsters.
Yeah.
It was that was bad. I barely remember that happening because I was so tiny. Flash forward to my early 20s, my dad somehow got a pygmy hamster. So, like, one of those really tiny, like, and this one is really
basically mice is what those are.
Yeah, this is the sad one. This is the one where I'm like, fast forward, don't listen to this. I don't know what, like, I didn't know what to do. So my dad gets this pygmy hamster. There's no asking, Amber, can you take this hamster? It's just, here's a hamster, Amber, take care of it. And it's dropped off at my apartment. This pygmy hamster, and I think because small animals are terrified of everything, they tend to be a little bit more aggressive.
Right.
This little fucker would bite the shit out of anybody. So if you wanted to clean the cage, you had to, like, cup him, like, get him in a cup and, like, transport him someplace else because he would just bite the crap out of you. Then because he was so socially isolated and just so alone all the time, he started, like...
Well, it just becomes a vicious circle because you can't really handle the animal because it wants to bite everybody, but the less you handle it, the more problematic it becomes.
And it started getting, like, super depressed and started biting the back of its fur off of its legs. And so you had this, and pygmy hamsters are so tiny that all that they are is just their fluff. So if you take away the fluff, it's just like these little chicken bone like tiny little fishbone legs sticking out.
Yeah.
And nobody wanted this hamster. Like, we could not get rid of this hamster. And we were moving, and we were going to move into a place where they did not allow rodents, and I had no idea what to do. And so like at this point, we were like, well, we can put it out of its misery. I didn't want to do that. And so what ended up happening was my ex took the cage out to the woods and just let it go and said maybe it'll be some birds or dogs or some cat's meal or something. Just let nature take care of it. And it was like, I still think about this and get sad to it to this day, because I felt so bad for that hamster that nobody wanted it and it hated itself and it just bit itself to the point. Oh, what a sad story. There's no humor in here.
Yeah, thanks for the real hilarious anecdote, Amber.
It's not funny. It's sad.
No, it's not.
And
It's
I
sad.
don't like caged animals, so I don't think I'll ever get any sort of caged animal ever again.
I get that.
Even though I didn't ask for that hamster.
With the hogs, I call them hogs because I like that better than pigs. We have a playpen for them, and on a day when someone's home, they spend most of the day outside their cage, running around in their playpen and snuggling on the couch and doing what they do. On a day when we come home in the evening, usually Glorpon gets them out, and they have a couple hours of running around time. And they sincerely enjoy touch. They really do.
That's nice.
As the antithesis of your poor hamster, they really do enjoy being handled and petted and like I say, cuddling. They really do. It's kind of odd to me, but they do.
Well, I'm happy that they get that. That hamster did not. I didn't even have a name for that hamster.
Right.
It was just the hamster.
Yeah. No, they're, and we have to buy lots of treats for the hogs. We buy them lettuce and carrots and pears and all kinds of apples and all kinds of fruit and veggies that they nibble on. They seem to be fairly happy. They make lots of hog noises and squeak around and stuff.
That's fun.
Yeah. But not for Amber.
No, not for me. I don't know. They also just... You can't really get a good read on rodents, in my opinion. I can't tell when a rodent's happy. I can't. It's a mystery. It's kind of like cats, too, where it's like... Cats kind of make me wary.
If they had tails to wag, it would...
Yes. I don't know. People also have rats. Like, people keep rats, which I think are fine, but also, no thank you.
I mean, to be fair, Edie's closer to a rat than...
She's a pretty big rat.
She is. I mean, she's a chunky rat, but...
Rotund, as the vet has called her.
Well, I believe the vet also called her Dickhead.
That was a different vet.
Okay. But still.
Oh, God. I was so mad. Do you want me to share that story?
I know the story. Do you want to share it with the listeners?
Sure. I will. You know what? Dave is the kind, happy one today who's sharing his, happy times with rodents, and I'm going to talk about all the sad misery that comes with pets.
Uh-huh.
So I love my dog. Edie, I've had her since I was 19 years old, so she's 14 now. And 2020 has been a hard year for everybody. Also for Edie. She's getting to the point where she is old and her body is changing in ways that is hard for her to deal with. And also me, because I'm the one who has to figure out, why are you dragging your ass everywhere? So over the summer, early fall, she basically started, I don't know what it was. I went through the list. Is it her anal glands? Do I need to squeeze her anal glands? It's COVID, so I don't really want to go to a pet store right now and deal with going out in public. So let's just try it ourselves and try and remedy this issue. That wasn't it. Is it worms? Does she somehow have worms even though she's taking medicine again? Nope. Went to the vet. Nope. That's not that problem. So then it's what the fuck is the problem? And then I was going to go visit a friend who was having a hard time basically being like completely isolated, right? So friends and family were taking like 2-week quarantine breaks and like going to visit, and then like another 2 weeks and going to visit. So I was going to go visit Kenny, and I brought Edie with me so that way, you know, my household didn't have to deal with her, whatever was going on. It's just a nice break for everybody in the house. So I brought Edie with me, and it just got worse to the point where she was like dragging her butt so much it was bleeding, and it was sad, and I didn't know what to do. And so I went to an emergency vet. Now, emergency vets, especially this one, probably deal with things like my dog fell on a spike, or like my dog was mauled, or my cat got bit open and we have to do emergency surgery. I didn't know what to do, and Edie was like not letting me sleep. She was crying all night long. So I went to an emergency vet and just said, hey, I don't know what's going on with my dog. It's 2:00 in the morning. She's been crying all night. Can you please like give me some sort of insight? And my dog wouldn't do what I was saying she was doing, which was dragging her ass around and crying because she's in a new environment.
Right, she's
with
anxious,
people she's afraid of.
Yep.
So of course she's not going to do anything. She's just going to stand there. And I can't go be inside the clinic with them either because it's COVID times. So they're like, call me back. It's 2:00 in the morning or whatever. And I'm like, they're like, she's not doing anything. I don't know what it could be. And I was like, oh, well, did you check XYZ? And she's like, the vet was like, well, I don't really appreciate you, like your tone or something to me. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I was just double checking. And I'm so sleepy. I didn't realize that she was like being upset at me.
Right. Sure. Because it's 2 a.m, right?
And in the background, I hear the other, like the vet technician with Edie going, come here, you little dickhead, or stop being a little dickhead. And I just like, what do you recommend, vet? And then they gave Edie some like Benadryl. And then that cost me $200 and some,
right.
That whole exchange, everything.
Which you could have bought at Walgreens. Yeah.
Yeah. So then she was on Benadryl for 2 days. And then I went to a different vet up where Kenny lives. And they were so much nicer. They were like, I took video. I showed video. The other vet didn't want to see my video. They're like, oh, it's all right. We don't have a place, whatever. It's okay. We don't need to see it. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Anyway, I hate that experience. I wish I could remember the name. I would drop the name right now on this podcast to say, don't ever go to this emergency vet. I left him a bad rating on Google reviews. Don't call my dog a dickhead. Even though I call her stupid asshole all the time, you don't get to do that.
Right.
She's my dog.
That's your pet name. Anyway,
pets.
Yeah. And that's why Amber will never own a pet in a cage.
No, they also don't live very long.
No, they don't. I mean, not like a dog. And I get that. But at the same time, like, I know someone who has a tortoise, and it's like, man, I'm not prepared for pet ownership for 50 years. Like, I don't think I can do that either. Ugh.
Or like people who get parrots and not realize like a parrot is like a lifetime commitment.
Yeah.
And that parrots are super, super fucking social, and you can really fuck up a parrot if you ignore it or don't like socialize with it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, birds in general don't appeal to me.
I really liked the cockatiel.
Yeah.
She was sweet.
Yeah.
But there's also I'm not going to talk about these sad stories. I got to stop talking about sad stuff. I'm done talking about my sad animals story. This is not funny.
I guess I'm done talking about my happy, pleasant animal stories. Done.
I'm done. This is how you end a podcast, right? You just go, we're done. Bye.
We're done. Bye.